make bioprocessing much more efficient. We've invented new analytical technology, and we use this technology to characterize product in 5 new ways. Those 5 new ways are important in terms of quality control. Our technology can be used to give feedback for process control. And along the way, we are hoping to be able to help reduce the cost of biotherapeutic drugs. Now, those are several bold statements. Let me tell you why I think we can make that claim. I'm Henry Benner, and I have been developing technology for a long time. My career started out at the Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory, where in the lower corner we flew missions on a retired U-2 spy plane. This technology morphed into technology that was used in early virus drug delivery. I invented a cholesterol test that has been licensed to Quest Diagnostics, and along the way, I worked on the Human Genome Project. So, in 2014, I observed a need to solve a problem for the biotherapeutic industry, and I started IonDx. In 2015, it was launched with funding from the Peter Thiel Foundation, and last fall, we moved the company down here to Ryan Ranch. So here's what I've observed. Chemotherapy started out using small molecules similar in size to aspirin. Carboplatin, one of those drugs, is very toxic, and for those people that are treated with it, it's very debilitating, nearly kills you, and your hair falls out. So manufacturers moved towards drugs that had less horrible side effects, and in the process, these drugs became more and more complicated. And this is where we identified an opportunity. So we've heard about the wine industry from a couple of earlier presenters. Biotherapeutic drugs are prepared in big vats. Instead of fermentation, they are harvested from cells that are grown in these big vats. And along the way, there is spoilage, but the problem is the analytical cost of the way of proving to the FDA that every batch is the same. So for grape fermentation, if at the end of a 2-week cycle, the taste isn't quite there and it's not a very good vintage, you can blend in other vintages to make it taste better. But you can't do that with a biotherapeutic drug. Each batch has to be identical. So ask Amgen about how difficult it is to manufacture these drugs. They had a batch that had all of the requirements, the right amino acid content, the right molecular weight. It just had no efficacy. They spent millions of dollars trying to figure out what went wrong, and it took them almost a year to qualify that one batch. With our technology, they could have speeded that up much to make it a much more efficient process. So along the way, there's a huge amount of money that is spent proving to the FDA that these batches are similar, upwards of $300 million. So this is a huge opportunity for us. We love to analyze things. And the problem is not going away, but it is accelerating. There are now 3,200 companies in the United States that are attempting to develop these drugs. All of them are faced with this same analytical challenge. The opportunity is huge. You will see names of these companies. You will recognize some of those who are developing these kinds of drugs. Our solution is complete. The Peter Thiel Foundation funded us to get to a working prototype. We are using the working prototype as a way in terms of beta testing and applying it to quality control applications. So here is our business model. We want to sell ion mobility spectrometers. This is the name of the instrument that we are developing. A typical instrument will sell for $150,000. It will be operated manually. With sample automation added onto it, it could sell for approximately $250,000. There are then added annual service contracts and additional consumers. So one of these small companies would probably buy one instrument, and that would be a sale in the order of $400,000 with consumables and service contracts. And large companies, say like Pfizer, that has multiple product lines, it would be 1 to 10 instruments and maybe even more than that, and that would be a sale of 4 million. So we now signed the 7th deal. You can see the names of companies here that we are working with. We have beta testing customers. So James Carroll from Pfizer says, I could see a 1.6 million annually revenue stream going to you to work on our product and qualify our product annually. That much for each of their 20 product lines. A major consumer products company over here, Yuping says, we'll pay you $1 billion if you can help us qualify our raw products from China. Now, of course, that's an exaggeration, but at the same time, we thought maybe we should increase the price, the sale price of our instruments. So our marketing strategy is to attend scientific conferences and technical shows where we find that scientists are more relaxed to talk about the latest generation technology. On our website, we generate web to leads. We have had first contact with a partner channel called Science Exchange, and we publish papers that describe our technology. This leads then to beta testing. So for our initial tests and our initial customers, we find that the sales cycle is 2 weeks to as much as 3 months. So in this field of competition, particle sizing and ion mobility mass spectrometer manufacturers fall in a couple of categories. TSI is a company that is in the aerosol science field, and they also measure small particles, but they did not make it, we were not able to make the transition from an aerosol company into a life science company, and we hope to step in where they failed. The other two companies, Malvern and Wyatt, are low-resolution instrument manufacturers, and of course there are some very large scientific instrument manufacturers in the world, and these companies manufacture extremely expensive instruments, but they measure different attributes. So we are in a slightly different category. We own the technology in this field. We have 2 published patents. We have 5 that are going through the latest office action in the PCT review and will publish later this summer. And we have 2 new filings that are being submitted or we're working on at the moment. So we have an experienced team. I'd like to point out the second person there, Mike Bogan. He's in the audience today. And he also has a PhD in analytical chemistry, but he brings business expertise to us from having developed Salesforce CRM. Together, we have worked together for more than 10 years, and we have published more than 300 scientific papers, and we are cited more than 8,000 times in the scientific literature. On the board, we have experienced biotech CEOs, and we have a lead advisor who has started 2 instrument companies and sold them. So we are looking for an investment of $2 million, starting on the left side there with the Breakout Labs, Peter Thiel Foundation funding. We got to the prototype and we're doing beta testing. And this infusion of cash will allow us to develop the next generation prototypes and lead to our commercially available instruments. So at the bottom you can see 2 years of red ink, and then that leads to a growing sales and cash flow. And the numbers just relate to a 5-year budget. So where are we? Here are the next milestones. We plan to design and fab the next generation instruments. We need to add technical staff. We'll expand the beta testing with customer feedback so that we know we are addressing the industry, and we then will activate partner channels to help us do the marketing. So thank you, and Brad, I thank you for inviting us and for us to be able to present today, and I appreciate the time. Thank you for listening. Pleasure.
You said 7 paying customers?
7 paying customers so far, yeah. They've paid us in the order of about $40,000 so far, and that's in the last 3 months.
So with the pricing, what you're talking about here, they're not really paying customers in the sense of...
Well, they're paying customers in that they are allowing us to try out their technology on them. So we're starting to engage with them. This is new instrumentation, and we're dealing with early adopters. But they're willing to pay for our services.
Is this a sort of a razor and razor blade kind of business? I mean, your growth with the major customers you've listed here seems to me to be limited. You get paid for additional services like that, and is that the growth model?
The growth model is to continue to generate new technology and sell instruments with an exit plan of approximately 5 years.
So finding adjacent markets.
Finding adjacent markets, but there's manufacturers. So I wanted to point out that the opportunity is huge because just in the United States there are 3,200 companies that are trying to manufacture these drugs that all face this analytical problem.
Oh, it's a lot.
Okay, it's much bigger than that.
Okay.
Who manufactures the spectrometers to your design, and where on your team are you sort of managing that? That seems to be a large challenge.
Yes, so so far the design work has been done by myself. The inventions have been done by myself. We've used 8 consultants in terms of electronic engineering, fabrication, materials design, and we got to the first prototype. So what we would be putting together is a technical staff to scale that so that we can prove to ourselves that we can really manufacture these instruments reproducibly. Did that answer your question? Okay, thank you very much.
All right, so that's our 3 venture otter tank participants.